This podcast is brought to you by House to Grow in conjunction with Antony Selby, a financial advisor. House to Grow is a not-for-profit organisation which empowers communities through education for life, holistic health and wellbeing. We hope this series is helpful and impactful.
Hi everybody and welcome to today's episode of House to Grow. Everyone has a story behind how we manage and approach money. We unpack the idea of a money mindset today and explore ways to develop a positive one with the awesome Betsy Westcott. Betsy, how are you today?
Hello, I'm good. I am well, and I'm feeling pretty warm here in Sydney today. It's very hot.
Yeah, it's a warm one today, isn't it? This week's supposed to be all beach weather, so hopefully if we wind up today early, we might be able to go for a swim sometime and get a bit of sun.
I think that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day. Make hay while the sun shines, they say. Betsy, I got a question for you in regards to money mindset, because I know this is an area you're very passionate about and you've spent a lot of time on. What does money mean to you, and how do you see money being useful to you?
Yeah, great one to start with. So money is deeply personal and it will mean something different to everyone. For me, money is an enabler. It enables me to have choice and control in my life, which I love. It enables me to take care of myself and the ones that I love. It enables me to access good healthcare, good education, services that support my well-being, to have a roof over my head. And it enables me to support causes and businesses that I think is doing good in the world. So I love money and I'm really grateful to have it, grateful to have the ability to earn it, to keep it, to multiply it. It's such a force for good in my life.
Interesting. Very interesting. So are there any, I've heard people say that money is the root of all evil.
Yeah, that's one of the money mindsets.
What do you think about that?
That often
true?
tells, I disagree personally, but I really have a lot of compassion for anyone who has that belief and that outlook about money. And, you know, no doubt through their life and their lived experiences, they've either received that message from someone very close to them, and they've had reinforcing experiences to say that's true. And then obviously that's going to shape the way that they interact with money. A lot of clients that have more artistic pursuits tend to hold that belief to be true, and they often have a lot of conflict around money and earning money and holding wealth, because it's in direct conflict with their view of, if I'm a good person, then I ain't going to have any money.
Yes.
And so that can be a real challenge for them in terms of, again, ability to earn money, ability to hold on to wealth, because it conflicts with the idea of what it means to be a good person.
What a fantastic answer. So you've mentioned a couple of times money mindset, and that's the premise of today's episode, the content. What is a money mindset? Where does it come from? And how do we identify our own money mindset?
Yeah. Oh, I like this layeredness to the question. So first of all, money mindset is the thoughts, the feelings, and the beliefs that we have about money and how it works in the world. It's a really integral part of our financial well-being. It's kind of like our financial foundation. If we were to think about finances as a house, this is the foundation on which your house sits. And just like if the foundations of your physical house aren't strong, then your house is susceptible to falling over, to crumbling. Same kind of goes for our money mindset. If we don't have a healthy, supportive money mindset, then it can sabotage our financial outcomes in life and make it really difficult for us.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure you've observed in your own practice. Advisor. Yeah. And so these thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, these drive our behaviors, which drive the financial outcomes that we achieve. What's really interesting is that research out of Cambridge University revealed that the most of our money mindset is made up by the age of 7. Now, I don't
Wow.
know about you. Yeah. 7-year-old Betsy did not know what was up when it came to finances.
7-year-old Antony didn't know very much either, I'll have to be honest.
Yeah. And so it's really interesting. So by the age of 7, we've already started to form beliefs around money, what it is and how it works in the world. And these are often not even directly spoken thoughts and beliefs. They're what we're sort of observing, picking up by osmosis from the people around us.
Yes.
So in one way, it's kind of good because your money mindset's not really your fault. So you're off the hook. You can kind of like let yourself have a free pass on that one. Not my fault. Yeah. But what it means is that it is your responsibility to change it. Given that we're picking up on this so early in life and through the eyes and through the mind of the child, kind of reveals to us why so many of us have such conflicted feelings and views about money. And also why often we're just not even aware of what we think and feel about money because the thoughts and feelings and these beliefs that we've developed very unconsciously. Yeah. And they're running as a well-worn pattern in our brain. And we don't even know that it's happening. It's on autopilot. So to change it, we first need to bring it out into the light and kind of identify it. If we can name it, we can tame it. So we've got to do a little bit of brain excavation and find out, well, what are those unconscious beliefs and patterns that are coming? Now, great news is our brain is flexible. We can rewire it, retrain it, which is good news for our money mindset. It means that we can change it and reframe it. So the first thing you want to do is take some time to reflect. Typically asking yourself some questions around money will help kind of start to bubble up these ideas. So questions might be like, what was my earliest money memory? What did my parents teach me about money? Did I feel financially secure or safe growing up? If I think about debt, how does that make me feel?
Yes.
I think about investing, what comes up for me? Even things like rich people are, my financial future is, earning money is, and kind of just answering those questions as quickly as you can without judgment will start to show you what some of your tightly held beliefs and thoughts might be.
Yeah, wow. And how about our parents? So we touched on that, or you touched on that a moment ago, and when you're young, what effect do our parents have on our money mindset usually? Is that a really good place to start?
It's like the place to start, actually. So when I'm working with clients, one of the first exercises that I go through with them is writing a bit of a money biography and just going through like what are all the memories, you have associated to money throughout life. And then also going through a bit of we do a bit of a money personality or money archetype quiz, which helps bring up some of our preferred patterns and behaviors with money. And then we start to do a deep dive where we begin to identify, was that something that you yourself have sort of manifested, created, or was there someone in your home life, typically our parents, that had that same behavior? And then very quickly we identify that most of what we do with our money is stuff that we've absorbed from our parents, and from our caregivers if you didn't grow up with your direct parents as well.
Yeah.
So very influential is the answer.
Wow. That's a lot to unpack. And what about if we have siblings? So we look at our relationships with our parents and our experiences with money growing up with our parents and how that might have impacted us. If we look at our siblings, do you think that there's likely to be a lot of similarities because we came from the same parents if we have siblings? Or do you think that there's likely to be different reactions to that environment between different people, and therefore, for example, one person might react in the same way that they will follow their parents' money mindset on point, just exactly to the T, the way their parents are, and then another sibling might say, no, that's terrible, and rebel against that money mindset and do the exact opposite or something like that?
Absolutely. Everyone's going to be different. Sometimes you might find siblings that have similar mindsets, similar behaviors, but we all have very different relationships with our parents. It depends on the age differences. It depends on what we experience, what was a significant memory for us or not.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can adopt behaviors from our siblings if that sibling was much older and played a caregiving role for us. But typically we have very independent relationships when it comes to those influences. They mostly come from our parents. And again, depending on what we experienced, what we remembered, our age and stage of life at the time will depend on what meaning we make out of it. And often it's really different between siblings.
Yeah. So interesting. So are there any practices we can do or that can help us improve our own money mindset so that we don't continue to do the same things and maybe hurt ourselves or sabotage ourselves?
Absolutely. I think the first thing is being mindful that this is a thing. We often we often think that, money is very math based. It's very logical. And, if you follow a set formula, you're going to get a financial outcome. Now, you and I, Antony, both know that money is an emotional business. Most of what happens with people's finances is based on, again, this money mindset, this thoughts, feelings, beliefs around what money is, how it works in the world, what you can do with it, what you can't do with it, your ability to earn it, and all of the things in between. So, so acknowledging that mindset is a really, really important factor in financial well-being.
Yes.
Taking steps to try and uncover what is yours. So it's going through those reflections. Once you've begun to identify what your money mindset might be, first of all, honor the good stuff. We all have some really good financial practices. So we want to celebrate that. It's like, there's lots to love about money. There's lots to celebrate about money. And so if you've got, a really good savings practice, or if you're just one of those people who seems to manifest the cash as and when you need it, it always comes in at the right time. Great. That's an amazing skill set. Well done you. So celebrate that. But then if you also identify things that might be working against you, say, for example, you might have a mindset that, there's just never enough money. Yes. No matter how hard I work, there's never enough. There's more bills to pay. I'm always on this treadmill. Most of that's actually a feeling and not a fact. And so working to identify that that's a feeling and then working on strategies to reframe it. I'll use another example and we'll go into what are the strategies. But another one might be, I'm just no good with money. I grew up and my parents told me just not to worry about it. Don't worry your pretty little head. It's beyond your reach. Just marry a rich guy, make sure he looks after you and you'll just be fine. And so you hand over responsibility of your finances to other people. Yes. You actively ignore your money. And again, handing over that control is a huge one. So, acknowledging that actually that's all rubbish. Like you have all the smarts within you to become financially savvy, to have financial well-being. Yeah. And it's a matter of taking interest in your money and caring about it and acknowledging there ain't nobody out there who's going to care about your money like you will care about your money. So you've got to take an interest in it. So practices such as really being mindful of like what are those thoughts and feelings and using journaling as a tool to sort of say, well, what's coming up for me? What's triggering me at this time? What's on my mind? What's worrying me? What's exciting me is a great practice. Adopting money mantras, I am enough, I have enough, all is well. I am grateful for all the abundance I have in my life and everything that's coming my way. Just a couple of examples that might work for you. Developing a gratitude practice. I mean, look, if you're living here in Australia, I'm going to say that you've probably got a roof over your head. You've probably got food on your table. You've probably got some great positive relationships in your life. There's always something that we can be grateful for. And
I always say that if you're born in, I always say that if you were born in Australia, you were born with a lottery ticket. It's compared to virtually any other country in the world. Yeah,
I think so. I think we're so lucky.
You won the lottery ticket just being born here, 100%.
Yeah. So, and practicing that, because once you start getting grateful for what you already have, it's amazing how, more seems to appear. You seem to attract more of that into your life. And then the second thing is really then committing to building your financial capability. And, unfortunately, money is a thing that we interact with every day, yet we tend to have very poor education with. We don't learn about it in school. We don't often have good role models at home. When we do receive information, it tends to be piecemeal and not coherent. So we have kind of mixed understandings about things. So that means that for a lot of us, the feelings around money is that it's complicated and challenging and difficult. So commit to building your financial capability, read one book, listen to a podcast, work with a coach, with an advisor, with an accountant, if you can.
Yep.
Those would be sort of the three things that I would start with as steps to improve your money mindset.
Wow. Love it. So much good stuff. Can you tell me another mantra off the top of your head? What's a really, so gratitude, I think, is fantastic. It's such a great one. What are some other ones that you think might help people who have a lot of negative thoughts? So you can actually Google financial mantras and there'll be like hundreds come up. Love it. Perfect.
Some that I really love is like, I have everything within me to create financial well-being. Just telling yourself that and that again. Become that self-fulfilling prophet. Every dollar that I spend aligned with my values comes back to me doubled.
Love that one.
Yeah. So there's a couple that just off the top of my head are some that clients use. But again, it's making a deliberate choice around the thoughts that we allow ourselves to have around money. Now, you won't ever eliminate negative thoughts. I'm a money coach. I'm a financial advisor. I still worry about money from time to time and let those thoughts get away from me. But it's around catching them, taking a deep breath, and then going, is this fact or is this fiction?
Yes.
And how else might I think about this? And what would be a really empowering way to think about this problem? And just kind of redirecting yourself when those old habits creep back up on us.
Absolutely. And that's why those mantras, I think, are so powerful, because you can replace when you're conscious of your thoughts, if you have a bad one or a negative thought, you can replace it with a mantra every time.
Yeah.
So if we are from a circumstance or a background where people don't really talk about money or don't have healthy relationships with money, how do we talk about or help the people we care about with their money journey?
First of all, approach with compassion and kindness. Avoid judgment and criticism at all costs, because that is just going to bring up the walls and shut the conversation down really, really quickly. And bringing compassion and kindness is really important, because it's not just a matter of math and logic. There's a lot of emotion tied in with people's finances. Take care to pick the timing of this conversation as well.
Yes.
So often I'm working with couples and, a bill comes in, right? And one partner gets really triggered and stressed by it. They're like, oh my God, I need to have an immediate conversation with my partner about their spending. And so they storm in to the room and be like, and open up the conversation. How do you think that conversation's going to go?
Usually not very well,
No, right? It's bringing all the wrong energy and all the wrong timing, and it's just, you're setting yourself up for failure. So, choose a time where everyone's feeling calm, where everyone's feeling positive, that there's space to have the conversation. You're not competing for attention of, kids or jobs to be done or trying to get out the door.
Go for a quiet walk.
Yeah. And often walking side by side to have a conversation feels less confrontational.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Than like sitting down at the coffee table, you're like, so let's talk about your money. And everyone's like, oh my God, geez, whoa.
Yes.
Approach with care. Sorry, you go.
No, I was going to say, so I was just summarizing. So approach with compassion and no judgment. Think about the timing very carefully when you have a conversation. maybe do it side by side rather than face to face if you can on a walk.
Yeah.
And what else? Sorry, keep going.
So then start by getting really curious around the person and their money story, and like, what was it like for you growing up? You know, what were you encouraged to do job wise? What did your parents hope for you? What did they teach you about money? What didn't they? And just really get them to start sharing and unpacking. And in that, a lot of information will come forth, which will give you context to where this person is coming from, what their experiences have been. If you're in a relationship, something like I always encourage partners to do, but you could do this as a sibling or as a friend who is trying to support someone, is, you know, if they're open to it, agree on a goal that you can work on together. It might be, you know, planning to take a holiday together, and it's got all the fun and excitement of like, well, where are we going to go and what are we going to do and how are we going to budget for that? And, you know, how will we prioritize what we spend money on, what we don't spend money on? As a way to kind of normalize the conversation, normalize the topic.
Yeah, do it in a context. Yeah,
definitely.
So rather than just talking about money, I mean, you can do that too, but you can use it practically in a context with something positive.
Yeah,
rather than always making it a negative thing. Yeah.
Oh, please make it a positive. And like, something I often speak to my clients about is that, you know, there's so much negativity associated with money and being financially responsible. You know, the word budget brings up thoughts of like pain and restriction and spreadsheets for a lot of people. Reframe that to spending plan. That sounds fun, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Align to your values. Well, that sounds good. I'm going to put my money where my values are and prioritize the things that are important to me. If you're sitting down to have a money conversation or to review your finances, pour yourself a glass of wine, put some beats on, light a candle if you will.
That's it. Yeah.
Make it enjoyable.
That's right.
You know, it does not need to be the domain of like very stale, rigid, jargon-filled stuff. No. Make it a pleasure. And then it will
it's so funny how we as well, you know, treat money in different cultures. That's a big one. So
definitely.
It's like everything you're thinking about as you say it, the taboos and all the topics around money and the things we shouldn't talk about are very much a Western thing. In some other cultures, and if you're listening and you're, for example, Chinese, is a good one to talk about, and that's one where money is often celebrated. And people will ask you very directly, you know, how much do you earn? Things like that. It's like, how are you? You know, I want to make sure you're okay. So we have a very different frame and concept in the West as well, particularly in Anglo-Saxon West, in Australia, about money. And we think it's a terrible thing. And often in other cultures, it's associated with fortune and things like health. They come under the same umbrella. Yeah,
and all of these different contexts will influence how we think and feel about it. And there's no perfectly good or perfectly bad mindset. Yeah, there's elements that are really good. In some cultures where money's really celebrated, one of the downsides of that is that often net worth is associated with self-worth. Correct. And if you're not rich, you're not worthy. And that can, create other challenges for people.
Yeah.
So
that reminds me of another one from another word that I don't ever say net worth. I always say net wealth because of that specific connotation. Yeah.
That's a hot tip. I might steal that one from you. This has been a very productive chat. But it's so true. It's the language we use around it is so revealing and can really bring up a lot of different emotions for a lot of us. Circling back to the conversations with friends and loved ones. So we've got the avoid judgment, approach with kindness, time it well, try not to be confrontational, get curious, start with like positives and goals. And then another thing to do is, really encourage getting support. Now, support can be just like encourage being educated, share with your loved one. What are you doing? Did you listen to a great podcast? Did you read something really interesting? And kind of just incorporating that into, or like you might be preparing to ask for a pay rise or to go for a new job and kind of just sharing that journey. And again, normalizing the topic.
Love that. That's so good.
Yeah. And then also encouraging advice from professionals. So, accountants, lawyers, financial planners, financial coaches, mortgage brokers, insurance brokers, and encouraging us all to assemble that financial A-team around us to support us on that journey for financial well-being.
So true. And what a good show that was, if anyone's old enough, the A-Team, to be listening. At least I liked it in the 80s when I was a kid.
I was going to say, I'm not familiar.
The A-Team, Mr. T,
Sorry.
he was like the icon of the 80s.
Remember
Mr.
I thought
T?
it was the finance show, and I was like,
No. It was. Sorry, I digress.
Yeah, I'm with you now. Sorry.
That's okay. What content have you been consuming that you can share with us?
I'm almost finished a really good book at the moment called The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Yeah, that's the one.
I've got 2 copies right now. I've read, it's a great book. Yeah.
He's a beautiful writer, and I love the way that it's like really bite-sized and consumable, and then how he's like relating it to so many other elements of life. Beautiful storyteller and a very thought-provoking book. I this morning consumed an audio book called The Hope Dealer by Caitlin Cady, which is really lovely. And she's just got the most delicious voice. I could listen to her all day. And it's like 110 messages of hope for life. And I like to kind of go through it and just randomly pick one and kind of take the view. I'll get the message I need for the day. So, and her message today was to celebrate your progress, which I thought was very relevant to a lot of my money coaching clients, to me, in that, sometimes when we're working toward a big goal, it might be paying down debt. It might be saving that home deposit. It might be, trying to pivot careers and build up skills and things like that. Focusing on the goal can feel like this never-ending journey and really overwhelming. But if you take a breath and kind of go, well, how far have I come and what have I done today? And just really appreciating the progress that you're making, that's that antidote to overwhelm, which so
true.
Was really great today.
And for anyone listening, I haven't read the second book, but also for you, Betsy, if you come across, if you liked Morgan Housel's writing, he has a blog. He writes on a blog called Collaborative Fund. I think the website is Collab Fund, but there's a blog on there, and he puts regular sort of, little bits and
financial
pieces around
snacks.
Money. Yeah, snacks, exactly right. And you get to enjoy his writing more regularly. I think he's fantastic.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to check it out. Great.
What projects are you working on currently?
Yeah, so I have stepped into doing money coaching full time this year. So there's a lot of work for me on releasing a new online course and some new ebooks. For the last 4 years, I was doing this as a passion project in addition to my work in the fintech scene. But I think, I don't know, I'm turning 35 soon, and I've been really reflecting since becoming a parent, like, what legacy do I want to create? How do I want to spend my days? What kind of parent do I want to be? And I just love helping people understand and make the most out of their money. And it makes me happy and brings me joy. And I've been building things for other people and companies for so long. And I've just decided that it's time I built something for myself and something that I feel really proud of. So I'm working on
fantastic.
That at the moment.
Oh, wow. Sounds so exciting.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
I can't wait to hear more about it. Keep us updated.
I will. Yeah.
And
thank you.
the last question for you today is, where can we keep up to date with you?
Yeah. So Instagram at Betsy Westcott, my website, betsywestcott.com. There'll be some exciting things being released there soon. And LinkedIn at Betsy Westcott. Sensing a theme here. They're probably my primary channels. That's the best way to catch me.
Awesome. So what's your website again?
betsywestcott.com.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you today, Betsy.
Thank you, Antony. And I hope your listeners got a lot of value out of it and can do one small but significant thing differently to support their financial well-being this year.
I'm sure they did. Lots of little nuggets of wisdom today. Thank you. Have a lovely week and enjoy the sun.
If you like this podcast, please subscribe, like, and share with your friends and family.